Welcome back to Lex Talk Fashion. It is Monday. We are starting our new schedule. So, Monday, Lex Talk Fashion, Wednesday, makeup look, and Fridays, we are going to have our lookbooks or fashion hauls, anything to do with fashion, trying it on, that sort of thing. Anything in between will probably be shorts. Um, I really want to do like vibey sort of videos, but I don't know if I could ever make them long enough to be a full YouTube thing. So it might still end up being a short. We'll see. But for now, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and in between, there will definitely be short videos like shorts, but not full episodes because I kind of just need to have my life back and I need to kind of just get a handle on that. I started this in 2022. It is now 2025 and I need to just focus on fashion and stuff like that. I mean, we're still going to do our political stuff, but the YouTube algorithm just seems outrageously confused about what to do with me. And I am just frustrated at this point because I've been posting a full video every single day for 3 years. And while the goal was never to explode and become a YouTube star or whatever, um, it is now. I have since left teaching. I would love to have the freedom. And yeah, I just, for all the work that I put in, it would be nice to be rewarded a little bit. And yes, but that's kind of just, it's a weird intro to starting Lex Talk Fashion again. But I just wanted to catch you up on what's going on. So yeah, Lex Talk Fashion. I wanted to start with um, sort of a series of there's trending fashions, types of fashions that are happening currently with everything going on, and and I want to talk about how that plays into feminism and but and also feminists and where it lands in the patriarchy and the overall, you know, key thing to take away from all of it. I want to start with my favorite type of fashion. And by the kinds that I'm talking about like androgynous fashion. I'm talking about the clean girl look. I'm talking about Barbie core, cottage core. Uh, what else is there? There's so many to like kind of just start with, but my favorite one is probably the one that I am the most drawn to. So we're going to start with my favorite one, which the name is kind of funny, but it also makes sense actually, now that I think about it, because it is me. And it is called Unhinged Fashion. Yeah, I know. Firstly, I think the reason why unhinged fashion started becoming popular is because we are now out of the pandemic, and instead of just wearing loungewear all the time, we are now out in public again and we are being seen again. And um, at least for some people, you know, who enjoy fashion, fashion is fun again. And this is one of the very bold ways to explore fashion and be excessive and fun and enjoy that aspect of fashion. The other part of that is social media is a big part of everyone's life. I mean, even if you just have your own private Instagram or if you are an influencer, whatever it is, social media is huge and it is a part of businesses and the way people just live their lives and share. Uh, so in that way, bold fashion, things that are extravagant or I don't know, like just attention seeking, I guess, in a way, is often rewarded, especially on social media, because people like seeing things that are bold and different and um, just fun. So I think that's how it plays a role. The other aspect of the social media and having it be extravagant and being rewarded for being, you know, a lot and bold. Um, there's power to that. There's power to having that attention, and I'm not saying like attention seeking, but the power of people appreciating and enjoying that, the influence that it gives the creator is a big deal, especially for women. Now, there is, of course, the backlash of it. So there's always the thought, right? Of course, if you are an unhinged fashionista, people will accuse you, generally men will accuse you of being attention seeking or, being shamed for being too much. And it's not just men that accuse women of being too much, right? There are plenty of other women with internalized misogyny that will see a woman who is bold and aggressive and unafraid to be all of those things in her fashion, and other women will shame her for um, being so unafraid to have that voice. And there are women who believe that women should be all buttoned up, and I literally wore the worst outfit. I've got leather. Does that count? Okay, and socks, but still leather, right? And the beret is different. Like, people aren't wearing berets yet. I'm telling you, they're going to be big, but not yet, not yet. But they're coming into vogue, I promise. Anyway, uh, many women see other women who are into unhinged fashion as attention seeking or um, looking to gain unwanted attention, and for some reason deserve whatever happens to them because of their boldness. There's like just that idea that she is too much or trashy because maybe she's wearing something sheer, um, and God forbid her body is seen, right? Or she's wearing her leather or fur and people, or leopard, and there are people that just believe that that is too loud, too bold for a woman to be, and they shame them for that. And unfortunately, it's not usually men that don't like the bold woman. It's actually usually women that find her aggressiveness, or boldness as too much, too loud, too. What I'm trying to say is a woman who loves unhinged fashion is definitely a woman who loves to take up space and make sure that people see her take up that space. And in the patriarchy, that is a very important thing, because for every single woman, we all know what it feels like to not be seen or heard or understood in the way that we want to be seen, heard, and understood. And so by doing the unhinged fashion and loving it and enjoying it, being a part of it, men don't necessarily see a woman as maybe too much, but not like, it's hard to explain. Well, with the sheer outfits, men generally just, objectify, but and they don't appreciate the art of it. It's hard. It's like a double-edged sword sort of thing. Anyway, there's these other parts of it too that are like classist undertones, right? So you have, especially with the mob wife, women who are white, and I mean like white, like wasp, right? Blonde hair, blue eyed, pale skin, sort of white. They can glorify and the mob wife and be praised for it, whereas women who are Latino or black, even Italian, is it's considered low class, low brow. And so there's like that stereotypical, oh well, she's ghetto. And maybe that's why I took offense to the mob wife title at first, because I am Italian. And so to immediately say, oh, you look like a mob wife, is like to say that I'm a part of the mafia. And as an Italian, while a lot of it is glorified and what's the word I'm looking for? Like, just in Hollywood, it's like this beautiful, badass sort of thing. In Italy, the mafia it's like the Nazis for Germany. You know what I mean? Like, a mafia is something that it at first helped the community the way like the Black Panthers helped the community, but then it started to exploit and destroy and hurt so many people and so many families that, um, despite its organized part, it was criminal and awful for many people, all people, because of the cruelty in the end. And so for Italians, it's not something that is glamorous, right? It's insulting. So I think that aspect of when people called me the mob wife, looking like a mob wife, I took it as an insult. But I think a lot of people glorify it and see me as more of a white woman as opposed to like Italian. Italians are white, but I'm just saying Italian people didn't get that white privilege until, a while later. Like, like the Irish didn't have white privilege for a really long time as well. And when I say white and black and Latino and all these other things, like, I also understand that race is not a real thing. Like, I understand that color, I mean, the fact that when white white versus black versus brown came to be, the fact that certain groups like Italians or Irish people weren't considered white and now they are, that should tell you everything you need to know about the construct of it. So while race is not real and it is a societal construct, the privilege of what you look like is very, very real, and is still very prevalent, and a big deal. Anyway, I keep going on these tangents, but it's like it's all so connected. Anyway, okay, so mob wife has this connotation of being very glamorous, right, for certain groups of people, but also very ghetto for other groups of people, right? So it depends on what you look like, um, and whether you can be appreciated one way or not appreciated because of the way you look. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. I'm trying to make it make sense. I guess the other aspect of it is you have like this unprofessional label, right? Not just by being extravagant and bold, but also like with the sheer um, clothing. On one hand, women are considered obviously I say, well, that would be an unprofessional label, right? So there was a lot of backlash to Florence Pugh's sheer dress versus Harry Styles, who had mesh tops and wore them, and he was considered brave. So I think that plays into it, if that makes any sense. So the idea that all of these patriarchal things are working against women, I think the reason why feminists would be drawn to this sort of look, like I'm drawn to this sort of this type of fashion, unhinged fashion, is in a way it's reclaiming power through excess by having why is unhinged considered liberating? It's more of a weaponizing of femininity. It's campy excess, like think of Pamela Anderson's Baywatch look, right? It mocks the male gaze by making it exaggerated. And then it rejects that palatable feminism of being strong but not aggressive, or sexy but not slutty, right? And in this way, women just do what they want and appreciate and love their fashion without thinking about the backlash of the patriarchy, of the people judging, right? The morals that they put on her for that. It's a middle finger to respectability. And it's another way of marginalized women, think like Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion, how they use loud fashion to assert dominance in spaces where they are not welcome. All of that is not to say, and this goes along with all women's fashion. But I'm going to start it here since this is the first part of that. And I guess there's a few contradictions, as there always is when it comes to women's fashion. So is unhinged sorry, this is crooked and it's bothering me. Is unhinged fashion really free? And these are just some questions that you can ask yourself, and or question or answers if you think you have your own perspective on this. But the other side of this, and I touched on this earlier, is the is it still catering to the male gaze, especially when you do the dressing naked? Does it really empower women, or is it still catering to this idea of desirability? Or when it comes to brands that are selling the mob wife look, right? So rich girls erasing their working class roots, capitalism co-opting rebellion, right? I mean, of course, fashion is all about buying clothes and aesthetics and stuff like that, but there's that aspect as well, especially of pretending or acting or being excessive, and not having any part left of the working class that maybe you came up from. And then the racial double standard of Black women like Lil' Kim, who were called trashy for the same looks that white influencers were profiting from, right? So there are contradictions, as with all of these fashion genres. There it is, the fashion genres. Um, and then these are just things I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Please let me know what you think. One thought is, can women truly ever be unhinged in fashion, or are they always reacting to patriarchal standards or expectations? So, yeah, I won't say anything else because I want to hear your thoughts on it. Um, and this one's a little personal for me. Is mob wife feminism or just another aesthetic for sale? I know what I would say about that because, yeah. And then, of course, lastly, who who gets to be eccentric versus unhinged in fashion, right? We talked about Harry Styles versus, oh, I just blinked on her name, Pew, right? And how you have Doja Cat and Lady Gaga and her early meat dress, right? So who's eccentric and who's unhinged? And what are the differences? What's the real difference between those two artists? So I think this is sort of my favorite aspect of fashion, right? So unhinged unhinged fashion is absolutely a political statement, because feminism and women's rights and all these other things. So the most radical part of unhinged fashion isn't the clothes. Um, it's the refusal to apologize. And what I mean by that, it's whether you have Julia Fox's DIY cutout dress or Pamela Anderson's going makeup free at Paris Fashion Week. The message is, I exist for myself and not for your comfort. Unhinged fashion is the sartorial equivalent of a woman laughing loudly in public. She dares to take up space. Okay. And those are my thoughts on unhinged fashion. We're going to touch on many other genres, and I'm very excited to dive into them. But yeah, anyway, I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you Wednesday. Makeup look. All right. Until next time.